If you want to achieve anything, you need to make yourself insecure. I achieved in 1 year what most people never get to achieve in their entire lifetime. I went from being pissed off, not having the life I wanted, to having $20,000, $30,000 in net income being deposited straight into my bank account every single month. And I did that by making myself insecure with this one exercise. Pay attention, because we're gonna do the exercise together right now, and it'll explain why you still haven't achieved what you wanted to, even though you feel like you've been trying, and how to use this one exercise to turn your dreams into a reality. But what is this exercise? What do you mean, make myself insecure? Put this on full screen. Let's dive into it right now. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is something called a Dream Life exercise, and it is one of the biggest contributions that I could contribute to having the success that I've had so far and being able to get ahead of 99% of people statistically. So the first step to this Dream Life exercise is identify. What do I mean by identify? Now, one of the biggest reasons why people don't actually get the life that they want is because they're not clear on what they even want. They're not even identifying the actual dream life. Now, they may say something like, oh, I want to make more money. I want to get financial freedom. I want to get time freedom. I want to get location freedom. Because if you're watching this right now, you want those things, right? You're probably stuck in a job that you hate. You're not happy with where your life is at right now. You may not be homeless, or you may not be unemployed or something crazy like that, but you're just working a job where it's just soul crushing. It's not giving the life that you want. You're not able to spend more time with your family. It's taking you away from your family. It's been killing you. And that's been going on for a while. And if that's been going through, and you may say, oh, I want to make more money, I want to be able to spend more time with my family, but what are the exact specific things that you want? Now, when I ask this to people, hey, how much money do you want to make? Some people give a very lazy answer. Some people say, oh, sky's the limit. Oh, I don't know, just make more money. I don't think about those numbers. Those are very lazy numbers, and you may tell yourself the story that, oh, it's not all about the money. It may not all about the money, but let's be real, money is a huge factor. What's the number one cause of divorce? Look it up. It's money, right? And money, lack thereof, should I say, is one of the biggest reasons why people have all these different problems in their life with their relationships, with their family, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, if that's the case, you got to identify, first of all, how much you want to make and why. Now, this may sound cliche, but do you even know exactly where your destination is? So some people may say, oh, I just want a nice house. I just want a nice car. What kind of house? In what country? In what state? In what city? In what neighborhood? In what building? Do you even know what your exact dream house looks like? And some people may say, oh, I want a nice car. What car? Oh, I want this Mercedes. I want this. What kind of Mercedes? What's the model? What color? So people don't know these things, right? People may say, oh, I just want to travel. To where? Oh, I just want to travel to somewhere nice. Yeah, but what country? What city? It's like, oh, okay. I mean, somewhere in Europe. Bro, Europe's a fucking continent. Right? For the Americans watching this, right? Europe's a continent. Where in Europe do you want to go? Do you want to go to Paris? Do you want to go to Zurich, Switzerland? Do you want to go to Lithuania? Where do you exactly want to go to? What do you want to see? And so the more vague your goal is, the more vague your dream is, the less likely you're going to achieve it. Why? Because, well, if you don't know where the exact destination is, how are you supposed to get there? So imagine, let's say you go to the airport, and you know the person at the desk asks you, hey, welcome to the airport. So where's your destination? Where are you going to? Oh, I don't know, somewhere nice. How are they supposed to help you get to where you want to go? You don't even know where your destination is. And you may say, oh, I don't know, somewhere in Asia. Where in Asia? Oh, I don't know, maybe China. What city in China? There's like 50,000 cities in China, right? So that's exactly the problem why most people don't achieve their goals, because they're not specific on what they exactly want. And so because of that, the less specific it is, obviously the less you're going to get that, right? Now, the more specific you are, then obviously the higher likelihood of you being able to achieve that, because you can point at it. You know exactly where your destination is. If you hop in your car right now and you type in the exact restaurant you're going to in the GPS, then the GPS is going to point you, hey, go to this street, turn left here, turn right here. But if you just type in restaurant, all these places are going to pop up, and therefore you're going to get lost in the car. You see? And that's what's happening to most people, that they're getting lost in their life because they don't know where the specific destination is. They may think they know what they want, but in reality they don't, right? For a lot of people, it's almost like women. Women think they know what they want. They think they want a nice guy, a gentleman, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, if you look at their dating history, it contradicts every single thing they say. They go for some drug dealer, they go for some club promoter that doesn't have their life together, or they go with some guy that's just their belly's popping out. There's like 50 years old. Look at all the supermodels. Look at all the Instagram models that you're looking at. They may say, "Oh, I want a tall 6'4" guy," but if you look at the guy next to them, it's like some 5'4" midget guy, right? And the guy's just balding and they're old. The whole point I'm trying to make is that you gotta be honest with yourself. And by the way, it's okay to want materialistic things. So the problem with what's happening in the world is that your brain has been bugged. So there's something called social conditioning, which is the thoughts and emotions that you feel right now, they aren't even yours. They've been planted there from your childhood, from your upbringing, from your parents, from your teachers, from the news you looked at, from the movies you watched, even the songs you've been listening to. So because of that, and your teachers or parents might have told you that, oh, hey, money isn't everything, or hey, they portray this image. They may not directly say this, but the news articles and the media makes rich people almost these evil beings. They make it look like that, okay? And so because of that, people have a negative connotation with wanting to make more money. Now, you may say that you want to make more money, but deep down, there's some sort of blockage because you've had these things since your childhood that making money is bad or making money is hard and you should just be content with what you have, all those things. And because of that, this is one of the biggest reasons that keeps people stuck. So I'm just here to tell you, I'm just here to give you permission that it's okay to wanting materialistic things. Who gives a shit? If you want a dope car, if you want to have a lot of hot women around you, who cares? That's what you want. And so just own that shit. So society make us feel bad to the point where it's bad to want these materialistic things, but dude, who gives a shit, man? If you can give the life that you want for yourself and the people that you care about, who fucking cares? If you want to put you and your family and your friends in a nice fucking car, who cares? Just go for it. Fuck what anybody else thinks. At the end of the day, we only have this one life. We have one crack at this. And we don't know when it's going to end. Now, you may theoretically get that, oh, tomorrow's not guaranteed. But I'm here to tell you, when I was 21 years old, I had a very close friend from high school that died when he was 20 years old. And when I was at his funeral house, I know we'll hear these Instagram quotes that, hey, tomorrow's not guaranteed. But I saw with my own fucking eyes, man. I'm telling you. I saw my friend laying in his casket at 20 years old. And next thing we know, he's in a glass jar, in his ashes next to other glass jars. I cannot talk to him anymore. All the dreams and aspirations that he's had is not there anymore. He wanted to become the best singer-songwriter in the country. And I know right now in heaven, he's playing his guitar right now. But on this physical earth with us, he's not here with us right now. So just realize that, and because I saw that since a very young age, I've had a different level, different concept of time and different concept of urgency because I saw with my own fucking eyes. Because I thought I was going to see him tomorrow. I did not get to. He did not get to. So just understand that we have this one thing called life. So whatever your teachers told you, your parents, your partner, your girlfriend, your children, whatever, just go for what you want. That's the most important part, okay? Now, going back to the traveling thing, how do you want to travel to? Do you want to be stuck in a fucking chair in economy class, eat food from a paper box? Or do you want to lay down in the sky and people have you bring you caviar and champagne and nice steak and nice dessert? As someone who's done both of those things, I can tell you, it's funny. I had a mentor named Matt, who's actually the one who showed me this exercise originally. He had us in a group Zoom call, in a training call. There was about 150 people in that company at the time. And I believe I was the only one, if not one of the only people that actually did this exercise, which is I'm passing down to you. And what he said was, hey guys, I'm telling you, this may sound pretentious, but once you fly first class or business class, you never go back down to economy. I'm telling you, you never go back. I was like, you're not being real. And once I did that, I'm telling you, I've never gone down to economy ever since then. Maybe the exception is if it's a very short flight of 1 to 2 hours, but ever since then, it's just a different level, okay? So just be very clear on what you exactly want. What kind of watch do you want? If you look at this right now, I'm being vulnerable right now. I'm showing you my actual vision board. This is not a copy. This is like my actual vision board. And I'll show you a little bit, okay? So I can't show you everything obviously, because some things are quite graphic. But this is my 2025 vision board. By the time of me talking to you right now, it's 2025. It's July 29th, Tuesday. So this is 2025. And obviously, I made this vision board even before 2025, because that's what you want to do. And I believe I made this vision board around 2024, okay? Now, if you look at this, I'll just show you my wealth section, okay? It's comprised of 3 different parts: wealth, relationships, and health. But for the sake of this video, because I know you want to make more money online, okay, I'll show you the wealth section. So I divided into what are the main things that I want in my life? What are the main things? Well, number one for you two is the crib, right? The house or the apartment that you want to live in. And maybe a car, maybe your ideal life, how you want to travel, your lifestyle. Maybe you want some nice bling blings, right? Nothing wrong with that again. Fuck what everybody else says, all right? And in terms of your work and what kind of work do you want to do, okay? So I'll show you the more tangible things first, okay? So I first put down crib, okay? And what I did was, what kind of building do I want to live in? Well, okay, I didn't know at the time, but I thought maybe I want to go to Dubai. Now, in the next steps too, you'll also see that if it's what you want or not, because sometimes what you think you want is not what you actually want, and things you want may change, okay? But okay, cool. I've identified, going back to first step number 1, identify. I've identified what is the country, city, neighborhood building, and I've identified that, okay? I've identified this exact building, and I put this here, visuals, because people are visual beings, okay? So what I'd recommend is within a Google Doc or Notion board or Miro board, whatever you want to use, or maybe like a printed out version of it if you're old school, having these things, okay? So I knew I wanted, ever since I was trying to make money, okay? I tried to start different businesses, and all those businesses really did not give me the life I wanted until I stumbled into something called high ticket clothing, which is not a business, which is not necessarily a 9-to-5 job. It's kind of in the middle. It's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you in a different day. But ever since I was trying to start these businesses, I knew I was in this small apartment, right? Which I'm grateful for, but also I wasn't content either. And I was living in the first floor, and the window, I remember the window was pretty much blocked because of the trees right from the window. So it almost felt like I was living in a basement, it felt like. And I was surrounded by these 4 walls. And I told myself, once I start making some good money, I'm gonna live in a nice apartment somewhere high up that has windows all around, and that has a nice view. So this exact apartment you're watching right now, you see all these windows. And funny enough, this apartment you're seeing in this screen right now, that is this exact building I'm talking to you in right now, which shows you the power of this exercise. But okay, so I knew I wanted this nice view. This is in Dubai, Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world. I knew I wanted some sort of nice view like that, okay? And at one point, I also knew that I want a nice 2-bed or 3-bed apartment, because what I wanted was, I wanted to be able to, if I have friends coming over, if I have some guests coming over, they can just crash over here. That's fun. You know, me being able to provide that and have some guests over, I wanted something like that, okay? Also, I started getting into watches. So, okay, I want a nice watch. I want an AP. So, okay, so I put that here, okay? Now, this is for step 2 and 3. We'll get to that in a bit, okay? Also, I want a nice car. What kind of car do I want? Well, I want a Rolls Royce. I want a Rolls Royce Phantom. So the Rolls Royce Phantom, at right now, depending on the price and depending where you're getting at, but last time I checked, it's about 700K to 800K USD for this car. And also, I don't want to drive because I believe driving is one of the most inefficient things ever, unless I do it for fun, obviously. But I don't want to be just driving around all the time. I just want to be in the back of the car chilling or doing whatever I'm doing, okay? So the driver's salary, I mean, conservatively, to be safe, I'd put that 100K USD a year. Now, a chauffeur, it's not like I'm driving around everywhere all the time, so probably more realistically, it's gonna cost me maybe 40 to 50 grand a year, but I just put 100 grand a year just to be safe, okay? So I put that there, and also this is the lifestyle I wanted, right? So flying business class, first class, going to nice places like this sky pool and this beach clubs and things like that. And funny enough, these things have all come true as well. So I don't, like I said, I don't fly economy anymore, and I just lay down in the sky. It's nice, you know, and going to these nice places. And so there's my ideal work schedule and stuff like that. And so I'm showing you this, and I urge you to, after you're done watching this video, is do it together with me. Because if you just watch this video and don't implement, don't take action, obviously it's not going to do much. Action is what solves the problem. It's not just theoretically telling yourself that, oh, I'm actually doing something. Okay, so once you've done step number 1, identify your dream life, and now we must move on to step number 2, which is calculate. What do I mean by calculate? Now, when I ask somebody, hey, what is your income goal? And they may say something like, oh, 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month, whatever it may be. But they may not know why they want to make 10K, 20K a month. Now, they may say, oh, no, but, you know, I want to do this and this and this and this. Yes, but have you calculated how much your dream life costs? Have you calculated it? If you said you wanted the nice house that you want, the beach house, whatever you want, have you gone onto your property website and calculated how much is actually going to cost you in terms of the down payment, the mortgage, the house management fee, the maintenance fee, or whatever it may be? Have you calculated that? If you said you wanted a nice car and you've identified what kind of car you want, maybe you want a Maybach, maybe you want a whatever, have you looked up on the car website or ChatGPT how much it actually costs? And there's another reason why people never get to have the life that they want is because they're not specific and they haven't really put that much thought into their goal. They're not serious about their goal. They may say like, I want this. But if you don't even know how much your dream life costs, how serious are you about your goal? Then you're not. We must reverse engineer from the goal that you want backwards, not from where you are here. Because if you try to go from where you are here, point A to point B, and you don't even know what it takes to get there, how are you supposed to get there? We don't know, right? Imagine, going back to the airport, imagine the airplane, the pilot, and the people, they didn't even calculate how much gas they need to put in the airplane. And they just put some random gas. What if the gas isn't enough? We're all fucked, man. We're just gonna stop in the middle of the sky. We're just gonna not get to our destination. It's the same thing here, okay? So therefore, we must calculate the fuel needed to get to our destination, which is how much it's gonna cost you, which is why we must put a price tag to each thing. So let's dive again into our vision board. So with this, okay, with this apartment, what I did was I went to the property website. If you look at the house or apartment, okay? If you don't know, just ask ChatGPT or go to your local property website, whatever it may be, okay? So what I've identified is that for this apartment, it's a 2-bed apartment, and it's gonna cost me about 8K USD a month, okay? Now this said 9 months, but I ended up getting for 12 months, okay? I just paid the whole year's rent upfront, paid in full. So about 8 grand a month, and it came out to about 12 months. So it was about 100 grand for this apartment for the year. But also at the same time, in Dubai, how it works is that obviously you got to put down a security deposit, which I believe is about, 10% of the yearly rents, and also the agent commission. Because I believe in America, the landlord pays the agent the commission. But in Dubai, it's the opposite. The tenant, aka the one that's going to be living in the apartment, which is me, I pay the agent their commission, which I believe was 5% or 10%, whatever it may be. So I calculated it to be about, it turned out to be like 120 grand or something like that for the whole thing. So I knew that, okay? So I put it here. So that's what it takes. So when you look at your bank balance, your bank account, how much money you have in there every day, then you know, okay, I'm this far off, I gotta get this much more. Make sense? So you need to calculate how much your house is gonna cost, okay? Your dream house. Now, also the watch and the different things that you want. For this AP in particular, it's gonna cost 17 grand, but I also looked at this watch and I'm like, hey, I want this watch even more. How much is that gonna cost? I looked it up. It's 80K USD for this one. Because I asked that person that's working at the watch store. Rolls Royce, like I said, I looked it up on ChatGPT and looked at different vlogs and YouTube videos and find out, okay, it's gonna cost about 700 grand to 800 grand USD. I looked it up on ChatGPT how the chauffeur, the driver salary is gonna be. So I looked that one up, okay? Now, in terms of different lifestyle things, the things that you want, also look those up too. The restaurants you wanna go to, what's the menu? Go look at the menu, how much it's gonna cost you. And also, do you have a partner? Do you have friends? Do you want to be able to just pick up the bill for 5-10 people without blinking an eye? If you go to a nice restaurant in major cities like Dubai, Miami, New York, LA, whatever may have you, then let's say you go out with your friends or different girls or different companions, and let's say there's about 6-7 people, your bills are going to come out to at least $1,000, at least $1,000 for everybody. So about $100, $200 per head. Conservatively. So, and how often do you want to go out to nice restaurants with different people? You want to calculate that. In terms of business for first class, look it up. Look it up on the airline website. And what airline do you want to fly with? Do you even know what your favorite airline is? Me personally, I know mine, and I know how much those things are going to cost. Just for reference here, let's say you take a 7 to 9 hour flight, and if you take a business class flight, it's going to cost you around 3-4 grand. First class flight, depending on where you go and depending on the time of the year and the city and things like that, it's probably going to come out to about 5 to 10 grand USD one way. So if you want to go a round trip, do you want to take that into consideration as well, right? If you want to fly private, then you want to calculate that too. Okay? If you fly into any decent jets, then it's probably going to come out to about 10 to 15K USD per hour. So if you do a 10-hour flight, then it's going to about 150 grand one way again. Okay? Not to mention the different catering and different things like that. So we want to know these things. Okay? And this is something I did not know. But a lot of people miss this step on the next step we're going to talk about. By the way, the next step is the most important. Because if you don't do that, all this kind of becomes a bit empty and pointless, right? So some people, they don't even do the first step correctly. But if they do, they're missing this and the next step. So you want to calculate this. So, and if you have parents, how much spending money do you want to give them so they can have the life they want? What about your wife? Do you want to retire her? Or do you just want to have her work for another man and take orders from another man, being away from the child and the family for 12 hours a day? Is that what you want? No? Then how much is it going to cost you? Obviously, as a man, call me old school, but I'm just a firm believer that depending on what stage you're in, but if you have a wife or somebody serious you're with, then they shouldn't have to worry about money ever again. And you do your role as a man, which is take the fucking leads, grow some balls, and do what you're supposed to do, which is take care of your wife or your family. Because if I'm with a girl, again, depending on what stage we're in together, but she doesn't have to pay for shit, and she's gonna have a great lifestyle. Because that's my job as a man. And also at the same time, I don't go to her with problems. I don't go to her with different questions. I fucking figure it out because that's a responsibility, right? So I'm not trying to be like some David Goggins, like macho man here, but call me old school, but that's just what I believe in. You don't have to agree. But I think, going on a bit of a side rant here, but I think the reason why a lot of the problems that's been going on in the world is because men are not doing their roles. So therefore, women are becoming more masculine. They look at American women. Like, I've never seen more masculine women than American women. Not all American women, obviously, but generally speaking, when I look at the videos, when I've been to America from my personal experiences, it's just very different. And I think that's because men are not doing their part. And I just like to take full responsibility in that for what I can do. Because if we take full responsibility, that means that we have the power to change it. So you want to do that with every single item on your dream life. And you want to put a price tag on each thing and play it safe, right? And by the way, you want to add all these up. How much is it going to cost you per day, per week, per month, per year? And that's before tax. So depending on what city, what country you live in, you want to take that into consideration. How much do you need to set aside for tax? What about emergency funds? What about, do you want to work for the rest of your life? Or do you want to be able to take the active income you get from something like high ticket closing and put that into something more passive sources and being able to have the money work for you long term? That way you don't have to work for the rest of your life, right? Now, the trap is that people try to go into passive income first when they don't even have enough active income coming in. Therefore, they don't get much return. It's gonna take until they're 90 years old to be able to retire, just relying on that. But what you do want is take the active income and put that into passive income, right? But it's hard to get the passive income to have some good returns without having the active income coming in, like something like high ticket closing. So calculate that. And then we move on to the next step, the third step, which is the most important part of all. Once you have calculated how much these things are going to cost, the what, we need to put a time frame by when. We need to calculate the time frame. The reason why it's important, as in, by when are you going to get this apartment? By when are you going to get this watch? By when are you going to get this and this and this and this? And the reason why that is important is because it gives you more urgency, okay? So let's go back to the time in middle of high school. And a teacher says, all right, class, this homework is due never. So they don't even say when the homework is due, right? The teacher says, all right, guys, do this homework. There's no deadline. How many people are actually going to do that homework? Fucking nobody, right? There's no deadline. So why would they do it? Now, let's say today's Monday, and the teacher says, all right, guys, this homework's due on Friday. By when do most people complete the homework by? Well, by Thursday night, or if you're like me, Friday morning. Now, let's take the same exact homework, and let's say the teacher says, all right, guys, this homework is due tomorrow, by Tuesday. By when are most people going to finish their homework by? Well, tonight, or by tomorrow morning. So isn't it interesting? It's the same task. It's the same project, but people just complete it a lot earlier just because they have shortened the time frame. Now, don't be completely ridiculous that you're going to make $1 million tomorrow if you're not there yet, right? Don't be completely ridiculous. But if you have put a timeline into this, let's say you're going to get to that by the next 6 months or 12 months or whatever, maybe, depending on the thing, then I challenge you to cut that into half by 3 months or 6 months. Elon Musk has a quote, right? I forgot the exact quote, but a lot of people look at someone like Elon Musk as, how is this guy doing this? He's built all these amazing things. Like, he's putting rockets into the space and to putting humans into a different planet. fucking crazy what he's doing, right? And so Elon Musk has a quote, something like, if you have a 10-year goal and challenge yourself to figure out how to do it in 6 months, and if you just put a timeline into that, then just figure out how to do it in that time frame. Because if it's the same goal, it's the same task, why not figure out how to do it in a lot early time frame? So this gives you a lot more urgency, because now you have a timeline, and if you have more urgency, obviously you're going to take actions a lot quicker, whether it be getting the right guidance or whatever it may be. We talk about that example of when I was 21 years old, I lost my friend when he was 20. And because of that, that was a lot of part of the reasons why it gave me a lot of fucking urgency, right? And because of that, I took actions a lot more quickly. I sought mentorship and guidance from people who already figured it out a lot sooner, because, dude, I saw my friend die, right? I saw him in his casket. That doesn't mean my tomorrow is guaranteed. And it sounds very cliche. I'll tell you this. My friend was going to his guitar lesson. It's not even like he was on some airplane, or it's not like he was doing some skydiving or something crazy. He was going to his guitar lesson, for God's sake. And a car comes out of nowhere. So anything can happen, right? So knowing that, I'm like, listen, I don't have forever. My tomorrow's not guaranteed. I have a problem. Who figured this out? And hey, man, how much do I need to pay you for you to teach me how to fix this? Okay, cool. Here's money. If I don't have it, let me go figure out and go find the money. And I've done that too, by the way. You know, I've sold things around my house. I've done garage sales. I've borrowed money from people. And I just believed in myself that given the right guidance, I don't know how to do this right now, but given the right guidance, I will figure it out. And therefore, I can make the money back or whatever it may be. So it's having the self-belief that given the right guidance, I can figure this out. That's very important, because if you don't have self-belief, then you're not going to take the necessary action to be able to get out of your comfort zone and fix your life and do whatever you want to do in your life. So you got to have this self-guidance. Now, you don't want to have arrogance to the point where, oh, I can just figure everything out on my own, because, I mean, what happened to those people? Or it just takes them a lot fucking longer to get to their goal, if at all. That's no guarantee. So if you have the urgency with honesty, I'm not just saying this, but, you know, me personally at this point, I've invested over $300,000 in different mentors, coaching, courses, books, masterminds, things like that. Because I'm like, listen, I don't have all day to figure all this out. There's subject matter experts that exist in this world already. Let me go find them. Let me go pay them. Hey, here's money. Let me just go do it, you know? And just acting very quickly and doing exactly what they tell me to do. And so that have yielded a tremendous result. And while everybody else is scared in the starting line, it's like, oh, you know, what if this, what if that? I got to weigh out my options. I got to keep doing my due diligence and research. It's like, all right, fuckers, I'm glad that those people exist, because I'm way ahead of those people. I'm glad. I'm glad that there are people like that, because that means people like you and me that have urgency, that have that drive, that have that work ethic, that have that hunger, will beat those people. And we'll just laugh at them as we run laps around. Now, the third step, which is the most important step, is called experience. So most people, almost nobody does this part, because, okay, maybe you've identified what you wanted. Maybe you've calculated how much it's going to cost you. But we need to go experience what it's like to live our dream life. What do I mean by that? So if you have your dream apartment, go find an apartment in Airbnb, go rent it for a day, or find the closest thing. If you want that watch, go to the watch store and try it out like I did over here. This is an actual photo of my beautiful arm. I should be an arm model. So I went to the AP store, and it's like, hey, listen, I want to look at some watches. I just walked in there. I wasn't even going to buy it, because, I mean, I knew these weren't available in the first place. Like, hey, listen, can I look at some watches? They're like, yeah, great. Can I look at this one, that one from the catalog? They're like, yes, okay, great. The car, if you look at this, I rented this car. Actually, there's an app where you can book luxury cars, like you can do Uber. So I think with this Rolls-Royce, this is a Rolls-Royce Ghost, not a Phantom, different model, also from Rolls-Royce. So the Ghost, I believe, is about 250K USD. Phantom is more expensive at 800K USD. They had only Ghost available, not Phantom. So the Ghost, I rented it out. Now, also, how I know is because I experienced what it's like to be in a Rolls Royce. I remember I was dating this one girl, and she was quite a wealthy girl, and she's in real estate, and she sells to like actual real estate, not pretending she's in real estate, but she sells to very rich investors. And so she's quite well off. She works about 8 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year, she's in Europe and all these different places. And she has a Rolls Royce Ghost, which is a 250K USD car. And I remember we went to the cinemas one time, and we were waiting for her car to come at the valet. And before, because I've seen her other car, which is like a Mercedes SUV type of car, which is also a nice car, but not like, you know, something like crazy, you know? So I was expecting that car to come. Then a Rolls Royce car comes in, and then she starts walking towards the Rolls Royce. And she looks back, she's like, you're not coming? I was like, oh, You got a new car? It's like, oh, I have this car too. I just use it in the night because I don't want my clients to see. Very humble. So she gets in the car. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to open this car. By the way, Rolls Royce car, the doors open differently. So imagine this is the car. Most cars doors open like this, but Rolls Royce, the car door opens like this, if you know what I mean. So I'm like awkwardly opening this car. I'm just sitting down. It's like all red velvet in the inside. Looks really nice. It's got the stars like you see in this photo right here. Stars all over. And the dashboard looks like some modern spaceship or something. And I'm sitting down. I'm like uncomfortably putting my seatbelt. I was trying to act all cool, obviously, and calm, like I've done this 1,000 times before. I'm sitting there, and I see the eagle thing in the front of the dashboard of the car. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is crazy. And I was obviously having conversation with her and things like that. But man, that experience, I had a hard time going to sleep that day. Usually when I lay in my bed, I just like knock the fuck out. I sleep like no problem. But that day, my eyes were still awake. It's like, man, I felt what it's like, man. I experienced what it's like to be in a Rolls Royce. And you may not be into superficial things, or maybe you do, I don't know. But I wasn't into cars or watches that much either. I'm like, who cares? A car is a car, a watch is a watch. But when you sit in it, when you have this metal thing on your wrist, it's just different. It's just open your eyes. Maybe even after doing this, you still don't feel that much. But when I got in that, it's like, it opened my eyes to a whole nother thing. It made me more hungry. And so what I did was through that app, now, these days, I just book more of these cars, right? Before on the Uber app or the transportation app, I'll just get the cheapest car ever, right? It's like a Lexus car, which is pretty much like a Kia or Hyundai, and that's gonna cost like maybe like a 20 grand car, something like that. But these days now, from the Uber app, I just order Uber Lux most of the times, right? So big deal. But like Mercedes, Benz, or like the better cars. And on the weekends also, and more often these days, I ordered the Rolls Royce. One of the biggest reasons why I don't order this all the time is because it takes a bit of time to come to my house, around like 30 minutes or so. Because the other better cars, they come within like 2 to 3 minutes. But if this comes more often, probably I'll order it all the time, right? But if I know I have plans, then I'll order this ahead of time, and it comes, and it's nice, It's sitting in a Lexus or like a regular, like a Toyota car versus this. It's a different. It's something about it does something to your psyche, man. I can't remember who exactly it was, but somebody was talking in a video. Man, I think it was Mark Cuban or somebody. They're saying that, well, if you really want to have more drive in your life, just go fly in business or first class. Just go sit there, because what it's gonna do is, now once you taste success, it's very difficult to downgrade and go back to your regular life. I'm telling you. I told you about flying business in first class. I told you that. And when my mentor Matt told me that, hey guys, I'm not that pretentious. I don't come from a rich family or anything like that. But he said, once you fly business or first class, you never go back down to coach. I was like, you're just being cunty. You're just being pretentious. Then I actually did it. Like I said, I was probably the only, if not one of the only 2 people out of 150 people in the company that actually did this. The third step of the exercise, which is go experience. And once I flew business class, man, just lying down in the sky and having food served in a nice plate, nice steak, is totally different, man. Because I remember one time I believe I was going to travel in the Philippines, in Boracay with my friends. And I was sitting down in this, I believe, Air Philippines airline, which is not that great. And I was sitting down in a chair like that. And it was about an 8 to 9 hour flight. Listen, I've been in the military. I was in Afghanistan like Matt, but I was still in the military. I've done some difficult things, more difficult things than most people. But man, like just sitting your ass down in like an 8 to 9 hour flight, I told myself, I'm never going to end up back here ever again. I said that. I made sure I took the right actions, got the right guidance to make that come true. And I did. Ever since that day, I have never gone back down to economy. Unless, like I said, it's like a short flight, like 1 to 2 hours. In that case, like whatever. I just get whatever. But anything longer than that, like a regular flight, I've always done business in first class. Because what it does is it subconsciously signals and tells to your brain. This is my theory. I don't know if it's real science or not, but I'm Asian, so it's probably true. It signals something to yourself, not even to other people that you're going to put on your Instagram story. But it signals something to you. That, yes, I am this fucking guy. I am this guy that flies business class or first class. I am this guy that only gets driven around in a 250K Rolls Royce car. I am this guy that has 80K on my wrist just because, this piece of metal. I am this guy that lives in this nice apartment that has 2-3 bedrooms, living by myself, and my friends can crash whenever they want. And I have these windows and world's tallest building in the background that can look at any time. It signals something to your brain. Whenever you go to nice restaurants, you may say, hey, I'm not into flashy things, but it signals something into your brain that I am this fucking guy that deserve these things, and this is like a norm to me. This is just a standard. Standard is a very important thing, because once you have a certain level of standard and you know that's your standard, it's very difficult to go down. So you want to keep raising your standard, go experience what it's like. And to this, as proof, in one of my older videos, maybe I'll link it somewhere in the description box or whatever it may be. In one of my older videos, about a year ago, maybe two, I shot that about, I think 2 years ago, and then published it a year later. But I shot that when I did this exercise for the first time, which is I actually booked a plane ticket to Dubai, and I stayed at a $1,000 a night hotel. Pretty nice hotel. It's got a private beach. The water looks like Gatorade, one of those places. And it's really nice, you know? And at the time, as a high ticket closer, I was doing around, I think 20 grand a month in commissions, net income in my pocket. And even though I had the money, I was like, $1,000 is really worth it. By the way, I didn't even stay the whole night. I just stayed there for like 12 hours and I dipped to another city. But I was like, you know what? Let me just see what it's like. Maybe I like it, maybe I hate it. And I went there. And I went to the nice restaurant. I went to the expensive restaurants. And it made me feel very uncomfortable. I remember I went to this one restaurant in Dubai. And it's very, very expensive restaurant, okay? So, and whenever you go there, you'll see all the supercars in the lobby and like these girls that are 5'10", 6 foot tall with high heels and nice dresses and fake tits and blonde and all that. And I remember sitting at this restaurant, even just me walking into the restaurant and talking to the receptionist, like, hey, have you made a reservation? I was like, yeah. I feel very uncomfortable and insecure. Going back to finally starting to close the loop here of the title of this video, which is making yourself insecure. When I walked into the restaurant, I feel very insecure and uncomfortable because right next to me, I had these, first of all, I'm in this crazy restaurant with Burj Khalifa in the background and looks crazy nice. And I had these people that I don't know what these watches are, but they look expensive. Maybe they're fake, but they look expensive. In a nice suit. And these girls that dressed up like in this red long dress, like they're going to the Met Gala or something. And I'm just sitting there eating my $50 pasta. And there's like this much pasta on the fucking plate. And I was like, I felt so insecure and uncomfortable. Going to Dubai that one day, I've never felt so broke and uncomfortable and insecure in my entire life. And at the time, I was making the most amount of money I've had in my entire life. And that discrepancy and that irony fucked with me, but in the best way possible. Because when I saw that, I was like, man, there's a whole nother world. Because before that point, what happened was this. I was hitting my highest months in South America, in Colombia. I hit my first $23,000 a month in net income and commissions. And I had $36,000 a month USD. Okay. And me seeing that deposit into my bank account, it's like the dopamine spike at the time. It's like, wow, this is wild. That's what I made working an entire year had I just finished college and taken this traditional route like most people, like my parents and my teachers told me to do. But I made that in 1 month, not even leaving my fucking house, talking to people on my laptop. But at the same time, I was living in Colombia and my living expenses was $1,400 a month. And I was living, it's not like I'm being frugal. I'm like Ubering everywhere. I'm going to a nice gym. My gym membership is like $20 a month USD. It's like a nice fucking big gym. And food is really cheap. Everything's cheap. So at that point, I'm going like, why do I even need to make more money? So even though I had my highest month, I made the most amount of money I made in my entire life at the time, I almost had this empty feeling. I had this empty sense because where do I go now? So that's another reason why a lot of people, after they hit a goal, after they hit a milestone, they get complacent and they almost lose a sense of purpose, right? They talk about Olympians. They train 4 years, sacrificing everything, discipline, saying no to parties that they want to go, saying no to dating, and just training every day in the swimming pool, on the track, on the basketball court, and just to try to get this gold medal. After they win this gold medal, people are cheering for you, millions of people watching on TV and in person. You hit this adrenaline, you're like, yeah. And after that, when they go back to the hotel room, they say, people like Michael Phelps or Olympians talk about this in interviews, but they've almost had the sense of depression and they feel so empty. And then artists talk about this too. Singers and rappers, they say whenever they go back to the empty hotel room, all the noise is gone. They're like, empty, almost down.
Because after you conquer one mountain, if you don't set another mountain, as human beings, we get complacent, feel empty. We're like, what do I do now? So if you've hit a milestone, if you've hit a goal, and you feel empty, go through this exercise and set another milestone, set another mountain. Now you may be wondering about like, when does this end? Never. That's the whole point. It never ends. That's the beauty of being a human being, is that we're here until our time's up on this earth. And we don't know when that's going to be. We don't know if that's going to be tomorrow. We don't know if that's going to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. We don't know. But the whole beauty of that, there is a level of uncertainty. That's what makes it beautiful. Because I'll give an example, right? When I was younger, there was this computer game in Korea called MapleStory. Okay? You basically kill these mushrooms and these monsters to level up and just do that. Now, at that time, that game was very, very difficult to level up and people were getting frustrated. I mean, dude, it takes forever to level up. And so what some people did is they coded this alternative version of the game and they called it, I believe, free server or something along those lines. And what they did was it was so easy to level up. Like you never die and the bosses are so easy to beat. And so people went to that free server. And what happened was in the beginning, people would say, oh, this is so easy. This is amazing. Adrenaline rush. Then what ended up happening is that free server became very unpopular. All the users left because it's too easy. There's no difficulty. You see? And because there's no difficulty, people are like, there's no challenge. They're getting bored. Isn't that crazy? There's another example too. I can't remember exactly what country. It was a country somewhere in Eastern Europe or Europe. Maybe it was Romania or maybe it was like a different country. But at that time, that country was thriving. I mean, it had one of the highest GDP, meaning that average human being on that planet in that country was making a lot more money than most other countries. And their insurance was taken care of. The government took care of them. The roads were nice. The buildings were nice. Everything was nice. At the same time, that country at the time had one of the highest suicide rates worldwide. And you may be wondering, why? Everything's going good. I'll die for that. I want things like that. Because how I believe it is, if human beings, if we have it too easy, we don't appreciate it. Isn't that fucked up? That's fucked up, isn't it? And so that's what I mean, is that once you conquer one mountain, you set another mountain that's difficult to go after, and you go after that, which is a whole nother topic, okay? But I urge you, and I did this even when I was in the military too. So in the military, obviously, we cannot leave the base and we cannot be in civilian society and things like that. But from time to time, we'd get these days off to go outside of the base and go into civilian society, go to restaurants and what have you. And so what I did this at the time, and I had pretty much my first prototype of this vision board at the time, back was it 2019, 2020, so on and so forth. And I mapped out what I wanted. And so I would force myself to go to these nice hotel restaurants and these hotels and these bars. And at the time, I was not making a lot of money. You know, in the military, I was working 6-7 days a week, waking up at 8 a.m. one day, 2 a.m. the next day, 4 a.m. the next day. My sleep schedule being all over the place, just working my face off, and just to not make enough money for the work I was putting in. But I still went to these places, and I ordered like a small cup of coffee, okay? It's not like I ordered these crazy caviar and champagne and things like that. I just still went there, and a coffee, if you go to a really nice place, yeah, it may be maybe $7-8 for a coffee. You're like, what the fuck? What does a coffee cost so much? But at least it's not like $50 for pasta, so to say, right? But anyways, you can order that if you want to challenge yourself. And I was just sitting there sipping my coffee by myself. My head is shaved, so I'm wearing a cap. I'm just sitting there, I'm just observing and just experiencing, being present in the moment. What it's like, man. Like what is it like? There's a version of myself. There's a man I want to be. I can picture, I can envision it, isn't it? Because I envision it, imagine it in my head, and I have it on my vision board. And I know what kind of life that I want because I have the same thing. I know visually what it's like, but also tactically, now I know what it feels like. I know what it's like to experience this. And that's the most important part. In Korea, we have a saying called frog in a well. Okay, it's an old Korean adage. And what that means is, imagine there's a well, okay? Long well, there's like dark inside, cold, and there's a frog that's been living in the bottom of the well ever since they were born. Now, in that case, the only thing the frog knows is that little circle, the dark circle of a well. Maybe the little sky blue thing on the top, he doesn't know what it is, but clouds go by from time to time. That's all the frog knows, right? Until another frog comes along and say, hey, dude, what are you doing there? He's like, what do you mean? Dude, there's a whole other world out there. He's like, what? Yeah, you come on out, I'll help you. See? There's trees, there's birds. Oh, you want to look out for the lion? It's like, there was a whole other world out there. And that is with most people, is that they've been living in a certain version of reality that's the only thing they know. They just go to the 9 to 5 job, be stuck in a cubicle, maybe physical labor like I did in the military. So you're stuck in this version of reality. You know the people you know, your friends that you know since maybe high school or from work or whatever it may be. Maybe they're not that successful. You just know them because that's the level of friends you can get. Or maybe the girl or girls that you're dating. And that's the only girl or girls. That's the quality of girls that you can get and that you know. And maybe the apartments, the buildings, the restaurants. Maybe the only thing you know is Buffalo Wild Wings or the Olive Garden, like I used to. By the way, Olive Garden has amazing bread, greatest bread of all time. But the point I'm trying to make is that that's the only thing you know. But you don't know what it's like to be in a nice car. You don't know what it's like to lay down in the sky as you're heading to Dubai or Miami. You don't know what it's like to be treated really, really well. You don't know that yet. And so that's frog in a well. Until you get another frog like myself. I'll be that frog to you right now. Like, hey, dude, there's a whole nother world out there. And maybe it's pretentious, maybe it's not. But I challenge you to actually go experience it because maybe you'll hate it. That's fine. You found out, but maybe you like it. That's the whole point of life is that, Gary Vaynerchuk, who is one of the first people that helped me get into this whole online space back in the days, what he says is life is a buffet. How do you know if something's for you or not? Well, you gotta fucking try it. So this is when it kills me when people say, I've been weighing on my options for the last like a week or 6 months or a year. I've been doing my research, doing my due diligence. I don't know what's the best path for me. I don't know what's the best business for me, which we can talk about too on this channel. But what's the only way to find out? You gotta fucking go for it. Could that be the reason why you are in the position you're in life right now? Again, you may not be homeless or whatever. Your house may not be burning down, knock on wood. But at the same time, you're not satisfied. You're not happy with the life that you have. And it pains you deep inside because that's also a paradox too, right? That's a trap, the complacency trap. So all I'm saying is at least have a day to go experience your dream life, your dream day. Go experience it. Otherwise, we don't know. Before I finish that thought, being insecure, uncomfortable, these things in this sense is good. The trap you don't want to get into is being complacent and comfortable. One of the common problems and mistakes that people make is that they compare themselves to people that are not doing that well. So they may say something like, oh, I'm doing good. And I may ask them, okay, compared to who? Compared to what? Oh, compared to people my age. Oh, compared to people in my hometown. Are they where you want to be? They say no. Right. So why would you compare yourself to people where you don't want their lives of? Why would you compare yourself to people that you don't want to be like? Because if you compare yourself to them, then what are you going to do? Well, you're only going to focus and fixate on that. Therefore, what's the only thing you're going to keep getting more of? That exact thing that you don't want. So it may feel like it's boosting your ego. Like you may feel better about yourself by, oh, I'm doing good compared to people my age or compared to people in my hometown. But it's not. Is that really doing you a service? It's not, right? It's almost that analogy, right? You're being a big fish in a small pond. Yeah, you may feel good about yourself, but so what? You're still in a small pond. Do you want to be in the small pond? So if you really want to make a drastic change in your life, then you want to put yourself in a very uncomfortable situation, like being in a small fry in a big ocean. And you see the fucking shark and big ass fish, whales. And you're like, oh, fuck. There's still a lot more to be done. I could be like that. I could be that big whale. I could be that fucking shark. Because if you're uncomfortable enough, it'll prompt you to want to make a change. I'll give you an example, okay? The other day with some friends went to this Russian banya thing, okay? So in that Russian banya, you go into this Russian sauna, it gets really fucking hot to the point where it burns, to the point where, hey, is this safe? Right? So in that point, people just want to rush out, right? I've seen people that just rush out of that sauna and that banya because it's too hot. Because you're in an environment where it makes you so uncomfortable that it makes you want to get out of that. And that's what you want to do. You want to put yourself in situations where it makes you so uncomfortable and so insecure that it forces you to make a change instead of the other way around. So it's just funny how life works, man. Everything I put on this vision board have come true. So not only in this vision board, but also if you go to my older videos from 7-8 years ago, you see some of my videos of me vlogging, just walking around my hometown in a small apartment saying like, oh man, I'm gonna make money online. I wanna make money.
Today, I was just like thinking a lot, still thinking about like how I'm going to, like I think I'm so fucking close in like making money online, right? Because that's what I want to do. Like I want to make money online.
There are times where you see like, oh guys, I want to give up. You know what? No, I'm not gonna give up. You'll see that. Because guys, I want to make 10K a month. I want to be able to travel to wherever I want to. I've made all of those come true. When I said I'm gonna make 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, 30K a month, all those things I put in my vision board have come true. And same thing with our students too. Instead of a training program, real sales system where we help pretty much everyday people become a high ticket closer and scale their income and get location financial freedom and time flexibility. So I'm thinking of Alex right now. Alex is one of our students. At the time, he was making about 4 grand a month. And after 60 days in the program, he got to about 10 to 15K a month. During the part of the process, we've taught him stuff like how to actually close deals, how to actually succeed as a high ticket closer. But also at the same time, I gave him this exercise because in his standard, from compared to people in his hometown, he's doing really well, right? So he did this exercise and he said, you know what? I want this car, this Mercedes car, and he actually drove it for a day. And then what ended up happening was that at his company, he broke the sales records and he won that car. So, I mean, technically he could probably buy it with the income he has now, but he won that car and he drove it for this. Like, yeah, I like this car. I want this. I know what it feels like. So he drove him to break the sales records to actually take the action that we gave him, the roadmap that we gave him to actually get that, right? And another student too. So one of our other students, Yimin. So Yimin also did this ideal life exercise. I told him, he's like, hey, I live in this city, man. I don't really like it. And I want to be in a bigger city. I want to be doing bigger shit. I want to be somewhere nice, somewhere more warm. I hate being in this cold city. It's like, okay, dude, so, I mean, why don't you go to, Miami or somewhere? And I don't know if he went to Miami. I think he went to Texas or maybe Miami. And he sent me this photo recently. And now he started closing. Before he was setting, now he started closing. Now his income potential is going to go up. Obviously, he executed on the tactical stuff, the skills that we trained him on at the same time. Like, how to go find roles, how to land roles, how to differentiate yourself on those interviews for high ticket closing roles. And even if you don't have that much track record and experience, but at the same time, because at the time he was being a bit complacent, and he and I did have a conversation around that. But it's good to see students like that are actually executing this, that are actually making this change. Because fact of the matter is, most people that are watching this video will not execute on it. Because like I told you at the company, when my mentor Matt said, hey guys, do this exercise, only 1 or 2 people out of 150 people did it. So however many views this gets, maybe it'll be 10%, maybe it'll be 5%, maybe it'll be 1% of the people watching this that may have done it. Maybe less than that. But for the people that will do it, I do believe that it's going to yield a really positive change in your life. So now that we've gone through the dream life exercise, but we can't just put, I want this, and just put it on my vision board and not take any action on it. You still need to be on a good financial vehicle. You need a high income skill set. If you don't know how to make money, then how are you going to make more money, right? So now that you have the hunger, you know why you're doing it. I actually made a video going over my story of when I was making around like 2K to getting to 20K, 30K a month in under a year. I tried 5 different ways of making money. And 4 of them were trying to start an online business, but it still did not, I couldn't figure it out. And I couldn't make it work. And I figured out that trying to start a business was actually doomed to fail in the first place. And the one I did, it's not a business, it's not a 9-to-5 job, but ended up being, from all the things I tried, was the easiest and the quickest way I've done. Now, there's no such thing as get rich quick scheme, but I do believe, as Tai Lopez says, there are get rich quicker schemes. And from when I did this, my life flipped upside down, okay? So if you go here, or go to the first link in the description box below, you'll see that video, and you'll get a better understanding of this financial vehicle. See you there.